That's going anyway.
You're not gonna fall over.
Okay. So this is America First Committee, the fight against intervention, and it's at 8 Henry.
Okay.
So the other day after the meeting, I was walking down the street, and
Yeah, I remember that meeting. That was a really good meeting. Wait, shh, shh, shh. Did you hear that?
I can't believe it. You don't think this means
Our campaign, it's over.
Roosevelt? He could have stopped this. You don't think he was in on this, do you?
No, Roosevelt planning an attack just to stop our isolationist movement. No.
Think about it. Always against isolationists, against our stand. He could have stopped the Japanese.
Intervention is inevitable now. What a waste.
Wait a minute. Imagine if we haven't even formed our committee in the first place. We would have been at war months ago.
True, true. And what a journey. We took a stand for isolationism and we succeeded by postponing intervention of the U.S. It seems so long ago, yet only last September, that Roosevelt made those two speeches, one to the radio and one to Congress.
Hitler just sent his armies into Poland.
And it was all over the news. Then, 2 days later, France and Great Britain declared war on Germany, starting World War II.
I remember on the radio, he said that the U.S. proclaimed itself neutral and said that American policy will focus on keeping the war out of the Western Hemisphere.
The one when he delivered to Congress was when he wanted to change America's neutrality laws.
We were all fine with the radio announcements, but we didn't like the messages delivered through Congress.
We spent most of our time talking about the speeches. Then we had the idea to spend petitions to other colleges. They came back overflowing with signatures, remember? Then we decided to develop our idea. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
In the meetings we held, more of our peers began to join to take a stand with us.
All of us opposed entry of U.S. for many different reasons. Some said war would be a waste of resources and might. Some said war would be a horrible thing. And some said war would be an unwise political move for the U.S.
And same with the people starting to hear about us. More of our followers that began joining our committee were coming from outside of our school now.
And we got the attention of Robert Douglas Stewart, who attended Princeton.
He said that our committee had great potential.
He said, "The issue of war or peace marked a divide unlike any seen before in American history." Then Robert Douglas Stewart got the idea to acquire support from several national leaders, such as Robert Wood. Who else?
Robert Wood, he was the chair of Sears. He moved our headquarters to Chicago, where he then became the chairman of our committee.
Yes, I remember that. That was a great idea.
And Wood got the support of the publisher of the Chicago Times. Now we were able to advertise nationally. We thought we'd be known as a more formidable group now.
By the time classes started in the fall of last year, we were a national group embracing all people and wanting to keep out of the European war. Then we had the idea to send our founding principles out, which were
build an impregnable defense for America, preserve U.S. democracy by keeping out of European war, and preserve U.S. power and resources.
That fall, Douglas left law school to devote himself full-time to America First. Remember, he started by recruiting national-known figures to the committee.
Such as General Hugh Johnson and the wives of Senators Burton, Wheeler, and Bennett Clark.
And don't forget, 3 of Teddy Roosevelt's children, Joseph Kennedy Jr., and the publisher of New York Daily News, Joseph Patterson.
By the start of school, with the help of our support, we were able to advertise full-page ads in almost every major newspaper in the country.
Since now we were able to get more support, we would be recognized as a more formidable group.
That November, when the polls were cast asking about America intervention in World War II, 85% of those who polled said that they thought the U.S. would join the war before it ended.
But those same polls showed that almost the same amount of people opposed the entry of the U.S. This was when the gap between the true beliefs of opposition of intervention became more emboldened and radical. We began to draw people like Jew haters,
Roosevelt haters.
England haters, Coughlinites, petitions, and demagogues.
But we didn't back down from this. We thought that we had done everything possible to make ourselves as well known as we could.
But we didn't know what was in store for us next. Remember Charles Lindbergh?
He transformed our committee to one of the most powerful anti-war campaigns in American history.
When he joined our committee, the membership exploded to over 800,000 people. He gave speeches from coast to coast, drawing crowds that rivaled even major sporting events. One of the speeches I attended drew about 60,000 people.
And not only did thousands of people attend the rallies, millions more tuned in on the radio. One of his speeches I remember the most was the one he gave at Yale.
I remember that one too. The hall that he spoke in was packed with almost everyone in the Yale community.
He spoke his standard themes, saying that if the U.S. intervened in European war, it would be a disaster for both our country and Europe. He also said that we either have to keep out of European war entirely or participate in European politics permanently.
After the speech, he said, although it was not large, it was by far the most successful and satisfying meeting of this kind which I've ever taken part. And at the meeting, when I went to Madison Square Garden, 20,000 people that did not get let in waited and listened outside. It was so crowded.
And while we were reaping in heaps of success, FDR just pushed the Lend-Lease bill through, which enabled America to send aid to Great Britain.
That was the bill that forced many of our followers and colleagues to change their views on intervention. One of them, I remember, Potter Stewart, wrote to Bob Stewart saying, whether we like it or not, America has decided what its ends are. Therefore, our national pressure group is not seeking to determine policy, it is seeking to obstruct it. I cannot be part of that effort.
And by the time Roosevelt needed to make a decision about intervention, our committee was in its way.
Which said we made a good impact, and which is what we had our sights set ever since the beginning of our committee.
I recall Roosevelt calling isolationists ostriches, but never did he once call it our committee or Charles Lindbergh.
Even though he didn't call out, I remember many other people did, saying Lindbergh was a spokesman for Nazi propaganda and saying he had a poisoned mind.
But behind all these attacks, Lindbergh proved to be a strong and faithful fighter for our cause.
Pro-war people even admitted that Lindbergh's forcible and persuasive ability to move audiences was holding the White House back.
And from then, we kept pushing to achieve our goal.
Well, until this happened.
Yeah.
Now I guess we dissolve and fight the war. We've been stepping closer to war for many months. Now it has come, and we must meet as united Americans, regardless of our attitude in the past towards the policy our government has followed. Whether or not that policy has been wise, we've been attacked by force of arms, and by force of arms, we must retaliate. We must now turn every effort to be building the most efficient and greatest Army, Navy, and Air Force in the world.
Our committee's principles, we believe they're correct. Had they been followed, war could have been avoided. But today there are so many subsidiary considerations, but there's only one primary objective, and it can be described in one word: victory.